DramaCityProductions.com.
You're plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Space is the place, and the sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
It's time yet again for Wrestling Wednesday on the Podcast Wrestling Society. Welcome to the podcast that will be shorter and sweeter than WWE Crown Jewel, and listening to us will be time better spent. I'm your loving leader, benevolent host, Midwest Monster, and the only man who didn't get pyro at Crown Jewel, Troy Adams. And my co-host today, he refused to take the flight to Saudi Arabia, so Shane McMahon had to fill in the World Cup tournament. He is the Christian to my edge. He is Kyle. What up, Kyle?
What is going on? Yes, I was going to be named best in the world, but I didn't want to fly over there, so thank you, Shane McMahon, for filling in for me.
He took your spotlight, man, so
Well,
had to be done. Well, speaking of that kind of just starts us off on the ridiculousness of what we witnessed at Crown Jewel. I gotta ask you right off the bat, first of all, we're not going to be covering news today, so if any of you are expecting that, Greg and I will cover that some news next week. Kyle and I will be covering today Crown Jewel and the fallout from the show, which was interesting, I guess. What did you think of Crown Jewel, Kyle?
yeah, we're covering Crown Jewel because, well, somebody has to.
Yeah. That's what we do around here.
I have to say, this show sucked for the most part. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I'm not really surprised.
It was a disaster. It just was like, what the hell is going on here? I just blew my mind. The ridiculousness of them going over there to begin with was capped off by the ridiculousness of literally everything that happened on this show. It was wow.
Yeah, I think all the controversy, like all the stupidity of them going over there in the first place, that was basically an omen to how the show was going to be.
Oh, yeah. They just, Vince McMahon was like, you guys don't want us going over here? Well, guess what? We're going to troll the hell out of you, because why the hell not? Screw you guys. What are you going to do about it? Cancel the network? Yeah, right. My God, this show is just, I don't even know where to begin. But I guess we got to begin somewhere.
I mean, there was like one or two bright spots, but other than that, it was just,
yeah, it was interesting, I'll say that. Well, before we get into the actual show here, while we're still opening up, as I said, next week, ladies and gents, Greg and I will be going over the news, as well as it will be part 5 of the Vince Russo era of WCW. We will, in theory, be wrapping it up. We'll have to see how it goes, but sometimes we sidebar a little too much and we go a little long, and trust me, there's a lot of crap to dive into. But before we dive into this crap of Crown Jewel, we want to tell you about one of our affiliates with WrestlingWithWrestling.com. WrestlingWithWrestling.com is seriously a great website to check out for any wrestling fan out there. If you want great podcasts, they got them. If you want news, they got them. If you want videos, interviews with other wrestlers, or videos of matches, whatever you need, whatever you want, they got it on WrestlingWithWrestling.com. There's the Smash This podcast. They cover Lucha Underground and much, much more. They've got results from Impact Wrestling. They've got results from NXT. They've got news stories from across the wrestling world. And like I said, interviews with the hottest talents from outside of the WWE and the latest from indie wrestling here in the States and abroad. And also, of course, you can keep up with this podcast right there. It is WrestlingWithWrestling.com, covering all four corners of the ring. And while we're at it, while we're shilling our wares, or peddling our wares, I should say, and shilling our stuff, I will shamelessly plug this and tell you how you can advertise with here Wrestling Wednesdays on the Podcast Wrestling Society. If you want to advertise with the podcast, there are multiple ways to do so. First of all, go to AdvertiseCast.com/Podcast Wrestling Society. There you can see all the stats from the show. You can listen to the latest shows. You can see an about me, your host, and you can see our reach on social media. You can see our listenership, and you can see our rates. Most importantly, we are accepting 10, 15, 30, 60, and 120-second ads, whether they be for you, your product, your podcast, whatever it may be. You can also email me directly at JapaneseProWrestling@gmail.com or hit me up on social media. All of the social media tags that we have are there. It is at PodRest Society on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we definitely welcome your patronage, and we ask you to please come and join the society. All right, and I think that is enough shameless plugging for now. We will get to our Redbubble plug here in a few, but before we get into that, I gotta ask, Kyle, did you watch the pre-show for Crown Jewel?
No, maybe the last 20 minutes of it, just to make sure the network was up and running for me. But I did not see the match. I didn't know there was a match on there.
Well, I zipped through, I saw a match, and I was like, oh, crap, okay, well, for those of you that don't know, Shinsuke Nakamura defended the United States title against Rusev. The fact that Nakamura has not been on television in a long time, hasn't really been featured at all as a U.S. champion. I didn't really know what the hell was going on with him, or his title, or his social media. Apparently on social media, he started hashtag Knock Americans and United States of Knock America, whatever the hell else. It's like, this would be better served if you actually friggin' featured the damn guy on television. But we never see him.
Yeah, this guy's holding a belt, for God's sake. I mean, it's like the U.S. title doesn't even mean anything anymore.
Nope. And I'm going to say this, at the end of the year, spoilers, whatever, but at the end of the year, we're going to hold the Podcast Wrestling Society year-end awards, and one of the categories I want to put up on there is we're going to have Best Champion of the Year and Worst Champion of the Year. I'm going to say it's Shinsuke's fighting it out for Worst Champion of the Year with Brock Lesnar. I'm telling you. At least, Shinsuke's not there because he's a piece of crap that doesn't want to show up. He's just not getting booked. So, I don't know. Well, and we'll get to Brock Lesnar. But for those of you that didn't see this match, Shinsuke won with he was in the Accolade, and he managed to fight out of it, and he, whether intentional or unintentional, raised his head up and low-blowed Rusev, but it looked unintentional, so the referee let it go. He nailed it. Kinshasa got the win. Nakamura retains the U.S. title. Therefore, barring any unforeseen circumstances, he will go one-on-one with Seth Rollins, who is the Intercontinental Champion, at Survivor Series. It'll be U.S. Champ versus Intercontinental Champ. So,
yep, and just like they did last year, I think, and they may, I don't know if they did the same thing in 2016, but last year they did champion versus champion on each brand, so.
That'll be a good match. I'm really looking forward to seeing that just because of who these two are. Unless Dean Ambrose gets involved, I totally see Shinsuke doing the J-O-B to Mr. Rollins.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me any.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm looking forward to the most about this match is something we've never seen before. Something
What's
fresh
that?
for once.
Say what?
The thing I'm looking forward to about this match is that it's a match we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Like we're getting something fresh for once.
Exactly. And speaking of matches we have and haven't seen before, oh man, I was completely wrong with all of my predictions for this World Cup tournament, top to bottom here. You and I was like, who could have called this damn thing? Like, it was just.
Yeah.
The thing is, they kept building it up, like, and freaking Michael Cole all night kept driving it home. Whoever wins this tournament is the best in the world, best in the world, best in the world. How can you have a best in the world when everybody in the tournament is from America? Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody going for the World Cup is American.
Nothing but America matters to Vince McMahon.
Yeah. And WWE fans. Oh, well, New Japan only sells out arenas in Japan. What do they matter? Like, okay. Whatever. I don't know. America isn't the world, people. I realize, like, Rey Mysterio has, Hispanic blood in him, but he's from San Diego, which is in America. Oh, man, it's just like, and I didn't realize that until somebody pointed it out, but, like, Miz, Ziggler, Orton, Mysterio, Hardy, Lashley, Angle. I'm forgetting somebody here. There's one other. Who am I forgetting here? Rollins. All 8 of those guys are from the United States of America. How can you be the best in the world when you haven't faced anybody from outside of this country? I just don't like it. It started off as a bogus concept, and I know it meant nothing, but they built it up like it meant something, and then they really showed us that it meant nothing.
He ain't got the truth.
Oh man, the actual show opened up in Saudi Arabia with Real American hitting the speakers. That was fun.
It was in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I know. You wouldn't know because they never said it. And they acted like they acted like if we don't say it, they won't know. Like, for the love of God.
Yeah, everybody kept referring to it. All they said was, it's Crown Jewel. We're here at Crown Jewel.
Yeah, yeah. Hogan actually said, here in the Crown Jewel and everything. I'm like, we know where you are. Although Michael Cole did say they were in Riyadh a couple times, but he wouldn't say Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It's like, we know where Riyadh is. We know what the Crown Jewel is. Like, good grief. But Hogan cut like a 3-minute promo saying it was great to be back and whatever, and he actually came out to a big response over in Saudi Arabia. And I know the reasoning behind this, why he was out here, because Vince was like, they're not going to boo him over there. It's like, yeah, so might as well just slip him in. Why the hell not? But yeah, Hogan came out, cut a 3-minute promo, said he was the host of the event. He goes to the back, never saw him again.
Yeah, he was the host. Yeah, he introduced a lot of things there that day.
Yeah, I've never seen a host of a show be seen once at the beginning, never heard from again. Like, my gosh, come on. At least have him come out at the end or near the end, whatever, when all that bullcrappery was going on, but which we'll get into. But, like, what the hell? He was the most uninvolved host I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, what the hell is going on here? But before we get into the actual matches here, I'm going to take a quick second here. I do want to tell you about some of the great artwork that you can get on some cool swag for the Podcast Wrestling Society over at Redbubble.com. It's redbubble.com/people/PodWrestSociety. There we've got a lot of great artwork that you can get on a bunch of different kinds of swag. You can get some of my personal favorites, the joke ones. Hashtag junk hand out of nowhere. You can get, we'll set him on fire, then he's gone forever, bro. There's, I don't know much about wrestling, I'm only an avid fan. Or you can get the look, bro, or some of our many HCW-inspired logos and whatnot. Or if you want to stay traditional, you can get one of our many Podcast Wrestling Society logos printed on a sticker, mug, travel mug, t-shirt, long shirt, hoodie, you name it, we got it. If we don't have something available that you want a logo printed on, hit me up on social media or email me directly at JapaneseProWrestling@gmail.com, and I will try to rectify that situation for you. That's redbubble.com/people/pod-res-society. All right, now that we're done shilling our merchandise, which is very good, by the way. I know it may be a biased opinion, but whatever. I handmade all the artwork. I'll say that. So buy it. Dang it. But let's get into the actual matches here. Well, first match on the card, Rey Mysterio took on Randy Orton in SmackDown's first WWE World Cup quarterfinals match. During the match, Orton attempted to remove Mysterio's mask. Orton countered a 619 attempt from Mysterio into a DDT. In the end, Mysterio countered an RKO attempt into a roll-up to win the match and advance to the semifinals. After the match, an enraged Orton attacked Mysterio with an RKO and threw Mysterio on top of the Arabic announce table. And he quote-unquote, hurt Rey's ribs, and that was kind of the story of the next match after that. What do you think of this match?
And a lot of these matches, I mean, they just went by too quickly to really get into it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say this, some of these matches were not bad.
No.
Like the Rusev versus Shinsuke match wasn't terrible. It just wasn't fantastic or noteworthy. This match was 5.5 minutes, so not really much to it. But I didn't think it was a bad match between these two. The ending was cool. It's set up for, other stuff. Yeah, it just it was
like,
what it was.
A lot of these matches, I mean, the length of them, it just seemed like something you'd see on a regular episode of Raw or SmackDown. I mean, it was just... Yeah.
Yep. Well, and for reference, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting some of the match results here off of Wikipedia. I'm not going to rate these matches because I just there's so much to get into with this show. I don't even want to bother with it. But next, The Miz faced Jeff Hardy in SmackDown's second WWE World Cup quarterfinals match. Hardy performed a Whisper in the Wind on Miz for a near fall. In the climax, Miz countered a Twist of Fate and performed a skull-crushing finale on Hardy to win the match and advance to the semifinals. Wow. 7 minutes, 5 seconds. Actually, not a terrible match. It wasn't great. I thought the Mysterio and Orton match was better, and that had less time. But I don't know. What did you think of this one? Any opinions?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it wasn't bad, but just they just didn't really have time to put a lot into it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
Then after that, Seth Rollins faced Bobby Lashley. He had Lio Rush with him. In Raw's first WWE World Cup quarterfinals match. In the end, Rollins performed the Stomp on Lashley to win the match and advance to the semifinals. This match went on for 5.5 minutes, as did the Mysterio and Orton match. It was fine, I guess. It was what it was. Nah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's...
I guess that's the best way to sum it up, is meh.
With a match.
Yeah. Well, then next, this one was a shock of the night for me. I don't know, or, well, shock of the night as far as, who's going to win. In the fourth match, Kurt Angle faced Dolph Ziggler with Drew McIntyre in Raw's second and final WWE World Cup quarterfinals match. Angle performed a trio of suplexes on Ziggler for a near fall. Ziggler performed a DDT on Angle for a near fall. Angle performed an Angle slam on Ziggler for another near fall. Then Ziggler performed a Famouser on Angle, again for a near fall. Angle applied the ankle lock on Ziggler. However, Ziggler countered in the climax. Ziggler performed a zigzag on Angle to win the match and advance to semifinals. I don't know if this was just me. I've heard other people say this too, but like at the end of that match, which by the way lasted for 8 minutes and 10 seconds, the longest so far of the tournament, I felt like, oh, that was it. Like, right? I mean, like, at the end of he just hits the zigzag. That's the end of the match. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Clean in the middle.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It was just kind of like, oh, that's the... Okay. Well...
Yeah, you had McIntyre at ringside, and I don't really remember him even playing a factor in the match.
I think he got in Angle's face once. I don't think he interfered, like, physically. I mean, I don't remember. And that's saying something that I just really didn't care or remember about this match. I don't know. But, yeah, it was what it was. Next, we got The Bar. Cesaro and Sheamus with The Big Show defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against The New Day. It was the team of Big E and Kofi Kingston against, or they had Xavier Woods at ringside with them. They came to the ring on a gigantic flying carpet that smoked and fogged and everything else. Wow.
Yeah, this is
couple things.
Interesting entrance.
Yeah, a couple things about this. First off, took them forever. Like, for freaking ever to get to the ring. Like, my wife had a baby during this entrance. It's so long. Yeah, I know. Mazel tov, right?
Didn't know you guys were expecting. Congratulations.
We weren't when the entrance started.
Well, you had all that time, I guess.
Yeah. And it was made even more awkward by Big E doing the pelvic thrust throughout the whole damn thing. It was weird. And for us at home, I've heard from other people, we didn't even know it was a flying carpet until halfway through the freaking entrance. Because, like, all the smoke and the fog and the camera angle, it was like, oh, they're on a gigantic platform. And then finally you're like, oh, it's a flying freaking carpet. Like, did nobody stop and think, maybe this is a tad racist? Like, I don't know. I felt a little, like, uncomfortable watching it. Because I was like, is this racist? Like, I don't know. I just... tack it on there.
It's like WWE was like silently trying to say screw you to all the Saudis.
And the people watching at home. It was, oh man. This match lasted for 10 minutes, 30 seconds. So 10 and a half minutes here. Boy, in the end, Sheamus countered a big ending from Big E and shoved Big E into Big Show, who got up on the apron. The ref wasn't looking at the time, and Big Show delivered like a short-handed knockout punch to him. Big E kind of flopped down. He got back up, and Sheamus nailed the brogue kick. 1, 2, 3, and the Bar retains. I didn't mind because I didn't really want to see the New Day win the titles again right now, especially not at this event. Just
keep it on the Bar for right now. They deserve a good reign.
I love the Bar, so yeah, keep give give him a decent run. And plus, well, I guess, that's the last appearance of them for the night. And actually, that was the last appearance besides a backstage, them watching the TV. Last we'd see of them for the whole week. But yeah, to let all of you know, it has been made official at Survivor Series. The Bar will be in a Champions versus Champions match against the new Raw Tag Team Champions. Seth Rollins was put into a handicap match against these guys because Dean Ambrose refused to wrestle alongside him. He took on the AOP. The AOP just demolished him, as they should have. And they are officially the new Tag Team Champions of Raw. So it's funny that it's the Bar with the Big Show taking on AOP with Drake Maverick.
Yeah, that's kind of a...
You got the biggest manager against the smallest manager. That's awesome. Man. All right, well, let's get back into the World Cup here, because I guess we have to. The Miz took on Rey Mysterio in SmackDown's WWE World Cup semifinals match. Miz performed the skull-crushing finale on Mysterio for a near fall. Mysterio hit the 619 on Miz. In the end, Miz countered a splash from Mysterio into a roll-up for the win to earn a spot in the finals. This one lasted for 11 minutes, 15 seconds so far until this next match. The longest in the tournament. Oy, oy, oy. This wonderful tournament that ended so fantastically.
Yeah.
After this, we get the match we've seen a million times. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler. For some reason, Drew McIntyre was told to... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That was the next match. I'm getting ahead of myself here. It was Raw's side of the World Cup semifinals. Rollins and Ziggler exchanged a number of roll-ups for near falls. Rollins performed a ripcord knee on Ziggler for a near fall. Rollins then performed a suicide dive on Ziggler. Ziggler hit a famouser on Rollins for a near fall. Ziggler countered a Falcon Arrow into a zigzag. That was pretty cool. That ended in a near fall. At the end, as Rollins attempted a splash on Ziggler, McIntyre pushed Rollins off the top rope, and Ziggler hit a super kick and on Rollins for the win to advance to the finals. After the match, Byron Saxton interviewed Ziggler, where he vowed to win the WWE World Cup. Yeah, we'll see how well that works out for you, Ziggy. This one... Oh, go ahead.
At that point, I was surprised by the outcome that they were going to have two heels in the final.
Yeah, that was weird. And the fact that the two heels were The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. Like, what the hell is going on right now? That match lasted for 13 minutes, 5 seconds. Look, I'm not complaining. Like, Rollins and Ziggler always, have good matches against each other. However, we've seen it a million times. I have no interest in seeing it again. It's like, move on.
A million times this summer alone.
Oh, I know. It's just flat out ridiculous at this point. Like, give me something new, something fresh. I think, because up next, we've got some of the biggest crap to get into here. Well, this next thing isn't necessarily crap, I would say. But it is, what did we literally just say a second ago about, same old thing over and over and over?
Yeah.
We'll get into that in just a minute. On the other side of this break, we're gonna cover it all. But right now, we are gonna talk or tell you about some other great podcasts here on the Drama City Productions podcast network. If you go to dramacityproductions.com, you can keep up with this podcast. Of course, it is updated all the time, as well as the other great podcasts on the network. We're going to tell you about a couple of them right here, right now. We will be right back. On the other side of this break, we will continue letting you know our feelings and on the event Crown Jewel, and we'll run down all the happenings.
Drama City Productions.com.
Game ticket, $50. Hot dog, $8. Team store item, $25.
I told him I can beat him with one hand tied behind my back, with some glasses on, with one eye lens out, with some flip-flops on in the ring.
Having to listen to someone's dumb sports opinions? Worthless. Some people shouldn't talk sports. For everyone else, there's the Unspoken Podcast, available on most podcasting platforms, and on the web at theunspokensportspodcast.weebly.com.
Drama City Productions presents.
Hey, it's Ben here, host of the Regular Stories Podcast, a podcast where I interview interesting people about their lives. These are not celebrities, they're not the elite. These are regular people, and these are their stories. You can follow us on Facebook at Regular Stories and on Instagram at Regular Stories. We are everywhere that you can get a podcast. We are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, just about everywhere else. Look up Regular Stories Podcast.
All right, we're back. And as we said, same old, same old. This was a rather paint-by-numbers match, if you ask me. It was the WWE title match. Went on for 11 minutes, 15 seconds. Nothing to see here, people. Just a thrown-together match. AJ Styles defended the WWE Championship against Samoa Joe. Joe dominated Styles early in the match and began to target Styles' knee. Joe performed a suicide dive on Styles outside the ring. In the end, Styles performed a phenomenal forearm on Joe to retain the title via pinfall. What do you think of this one?
No, I think this one, you mentioned, the Kurt Angle, Dolph Ziggler match, where the finish just kind of came out of nowhere. That's kind of how I felt about this one.
A bit.
Like it just,
I don't know.
Like the finish just felt rushed, and boom, that was it. Not a lot of drama to it.
I get it that, Daniel Bryan didn't want to go, so they kind of threw this one together. But man, I don't know. After I've seen these guys take each other on, a few times already, and, back in TNA, they had some phenomenal matches against each other. No pun intended. I don't know. This one just seemed like this was definitely less than. I mean, and it wasn't a bad match. It was a pretty good match.
No.
But
I've never seen AJ Styles have a bad match, and you said that this wasn't bad, but
yeah, it just wasn't, I don't know. I didn't feel it was like super up to snuff for these two. But then again, as we said, thrown together, and it was in front of, the Saudi crowd on a throwaway show. So I don't think they, were going to go all out for this one. It's not like it was Mania or something.
no.
The greatest WrestleMania. Let's get into the first of the biggest crap to laugh at of the night. So far, it's been a kind of a boring show, kind of blasé, other than, Hulk Hogan popping up. But this is where just that snowball starts rolling downhill and picking up speed and picking up mass, and just you can't stop the crap rolling down, man. Braun Strowman took on Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman for the vacant Universal Championship. Acting General Manager Baron Corbin came out to present the title to the winner. Before the match began, Corbin showed both men the title. Then he smacked Strowman in the back of the head with it, which on Raw we still, I believe, never got an explanation why. Did we?
He was just, Corbin said he was just trying to teach, Strowman, authority or something to...
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that was his explanation or something, yeah.
Well, that worked out real well.
Oh, yeah.
Lesnar attacked Strowman with 3 F5s. However, all resulted in near falls. Lesnar performed another F5 on Strowman, but to the outside of the ring. That one was actually pretty cool. In the end, Lesnar performed a fifth F5 on Strowman to regain the freaking title. With this win, Lesnar became the first two-time Universal Champion, and that thing is gone forever, bro. Ay. For those of you that watched UFC 230, you would have seen... sorry, I'm blanking here. Daniel Cormier retain the heavyweight title against Derek Lewis via submission, rear naked choke in the second round. And after the match, or the fight, rather, he called out Brock, and he said, bring that new WWE title of yours, and let me take that from you, too. So I actually, because they were in the Garden, they were in Madison Square Garden for UFC 230. I expected, and the reason Greg and I didn't run that card down, by the way, run down the results, is because the show sucked. Like, it was a bad show. It was a bad card, bad show, and they were in the freaking Garden, as we said. Jacare Souza took out Chris Weidman hard in it was third round, but he knocked him out. Daniel Cormier defeated Derek Lewis, as I said, in the main event. Those were the only two fights anybody gave a damn about on that whole card in Madison Square freaking Garden.
Wow.
Yeah. Fight of the night went to Souza and Weidman. Performance of the night went to two guys that I've never heard of. It was a boring card, and the only noteworthy thing was Cormier calling out Brock at the end of the night. But when Brock won here, I half expected him to show up in the Garden with the belt, but he didn't. He wasn't there. Go figure. Brock Lesnar, no showing a show?
He probably doesn't get invited to many parties either, because I know he won't show up.
Yeah. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, Brock. Unless they're breaking out the checkbook. But man, what did I tell you about Brock Lesnar doesn't work by the hour?
No, he doesn't, dude.
This was just, wow. On one hand, you can say, well, they kept Braun looking strong by having him getting smacked in the back of the head with the belt and then having, he had to hit 5 F5s to beat him. It's like, yeah, whatever. Brock is still the champ. What the hell? The only way that I can conceivably see this being halfway decent is obviously, because on Raw, like the whole storyline throughout the whole night was Braun kept trying to get to Baron Corbin, and Baron had a ton of security, and he kept running from Braun all night. He was like on the run throughout the whole show until he left before that. Like, if you're the boss and you're running the show, how can you leave before the end of said show? I don't get that one, but he did, with Braun chasing after his stretch Hummer. It was weird, but that was the whole thing, was, Braun going after Baron. So I'm assuming we're going to get a match between those two. Braun's clearly going to win. And then he's got unfinished business with Drew McIntyre. So I want to see McIntyre beat Braun and then go on to face Lesnar, win the damn belt, and then boom, Drew McIntyre's a freaking megastar, man.
I want to know why they're just so afraid to put the belt on Braun Strowman.
Hell if I know. He's over. He was over on Raw after he just got pooped on by Brock.
Yeah, I mean, people love the guy. I don't blame them.
He's got a catchy catchphrase. Like, get these hands. They love to say it. Boom. But no, alas, they won't put the damn strap on Strowman. I don't know what the hell is going on with. They were talking before Raw. I heard people suggesting, well, maybe they could turn Drew McIntyre face. The people like him, and then he could, go on to face Braun. After what we saw on Raw, that's not going to happen. I don't know. We'll get back to Drew McIntyre here in a minute. But yeah, that was that. Brock Lesnar, 2-time Universal Champion. Yay!
It doesn't it takes a lot to kind of put me in a bad mood during a WWE show. That one did it right there. It's like, really?
Yep. How long? All the wind went out of my sails with that. I was just like, what the hell ever. 3 minutes, 15 seconds.
Please have him drop the damn thing in his first title defense. Please let this be just a transitional thing. Don't let him hold the damn thing until WrestleMania.
Oh, he will. He'll be in the main event again. You know it. And it is now official. Brock Lesnar will take on AJ Styles, conceivably in the main event of Survivor Series, champion versus champion. And I know people who are, AJ's gonna win. I'm like, on what planet do you think AJ Styles is gonna win this damn match? He's not gonna beat Brock. There's no way in hell. Unless Braun gets involved, or Drew gets involved, or both. But even then, I don't know. I think AJ would have to run him over with a Mack truck before he's able to pin him. Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong here, and I hope AJ wins. Too. But if history has proven anything, it's that AJ Styles is not winning that effing match. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's a waiting game at this point. Well, before we finish up on some of the other things that happened on Raw, let's try to finish up some of the ridiculousness here from Crown Jewel. In the final match here of the World Cup tournament, The Miz was originally supposed to face Dolph Ziggler with Drew McIntyre in the finals. McIntyre was ejected at ringside. For some reason, the referee just decided, get him out of here. I think it ended up being a good move because then McIntyre was nowhere around this travesty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have to try to find a silver lining. Miz attacked Ziggler and threw him outside the ring. As Miz exited the ring, he tweaked his knee, which led him to be unable to compete. This led to SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon taking Miz's place in the match. Because apparently you can just insert yourself into the damn match.
Into a tournament where you didn't even take part in any of the matches leading up to the final.
Yeah, it's like, no, we can't have a forfeit. This has got to happen. I'm putting myself in. Like, what? Like what the hell? I just, what the hell, man? And, let's continue on here with what happened as the match officially began. McMahon attacked Ziggler. However, acting Raw General Manager Baron Corbin interfered only to get ejected at ringside. Ziggler performed a zigzag on McMahon for a near fall. In the end, McMahon performed a coast-to-coast on Ziggler to win the match and the WWE World Cup and celebrated through the arena with the trophy.
Yep, Shane McMahon's the best in the world.
2.5 minutes. Shane McMahon beat Dolph Ziggler. You heard it. Shane McMahon beat Dolph Ziggler. Now, before I watched the show, because I watched it on delay, and I made the mistake of going on Facebook, and I saw that WWE's official Facebook page changed their banner on Facebook to a picture of Shane McMahon holding up the Best in the World trophy. And I thought, that's odd. The Miz, I didn't think The Miz because I didn't know. I was like, somebody from SmackDown must have won, and Shane is celebrating with them with the trophy. Nope. Shane freaking McMahon won the World Cup.
I bet Vince Russo just must have loved this entire thing. I mean, you had a tournament and a swerve.
Yeah, swerve, bro. Just, golly. This was a travesty. And, they pointed out that last week on SmackDown, before the event took place, he gathered, the 4 finalists from SmackDown and said, whichever one of you makes it to the finals, if you do not win, I can't bear to, hear all this bragging from my sister. So if whoever's in the finals does not win, you're fired. And that just makes him look like an idiot. Why would you take the guy who makes it all the way to the finals and is the best on your brand and you fire him? I just, what?
Yeah.
And on top of all that, another thing besides the fact that the people in this tournament were just all from America, even though it's supposed to be the best in the world. The only champion in this entire tournament was Seth freaking Rollins. All of the other champions, AJ wasn't in it, Shinsuke wasn't in it, the tag champions weren't in it. Like, what the hell?
Shinsuke had a chance to be in it. He ended up losing to
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio. But
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess that one makes sense. Sort of. I don't know. It just...
this whole thing was a joke to begin with, so
yeah.
might as well just
God dang, pal, swerve them.
Yeah.
They, when he was celebrating with the trophy and they were playing money, 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 what they should have been playing was never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
Yeah, they got Rickrolled all right.
Oh, hell yeah, they did. We got Rickrolled for watching this. I just, there were 2 reactions. My reaction was dead silence and just, watching with my mouth agape. And then there was others who I, said that they just laughed uncontrollably for, 5 minutes.
That's kind of what I did. It wasn't uncontrollably, but I did laugh at the end of it.
Oh, man. It just, and Greg was telling me, he's like, well, if you thought this tournament meant anything, then you're dumb. And I'm like, it's not the fact that I thought that it meant something, because clearly it didn't. The winner didn't get anything except for a stupid trophy. However, they built it up like it meant something. They tried to make us think that it meant something. They said whoever won was the best in the world, and then they give the damn thing to Shane McMahon. Oh my gosh, what the hell? This was bananas. Let's move on to the main event, which had its own share of problems here. Okay, so you dig up Shawn Michaels and you throw him in there with an aged Triple H for D-Generation X. And they take on the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, and old man feeble Undertaker who's had her hip replaced. Don't get me wrong. I love these guys. But how old are they? This is the oldest match I've ever seen. Here's what Wikipedia had to say. This match, by the way, went on for 27 minutes and 45 seconds. It's a long-ass match for young people. These are 4 old men. In the main event, D-Generation X faced the Brothers of Destruction in Michaels' first match since 2010, as well as the first time that these 2 tag teams ever faced each other in a tag team match. During the match, all 4 men brawled, leading to outside the ring, where Undertaker put Triple H through an announce table it left one thing out here before he took that bump. Kudos to him doing Triple H, him doing what he did in this match, because they had a spot where he did his Harley Race tumble outside of the ring in the corner, where he hits on his right side and flips over the top rope to the outside. Well, when he hit, he tore his freaking pec. And this was like 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah, very early on.
Long way to go. And
Took some punishment in this match even after that, too. So that was...
Oh, yeah. And like I said, he got put through the announce table. They didn't clear it off. He just took that damn choke slam right on top of everything. So kudos to him doing that. But Michaels, as I said, hadn't wrestled in 8 years. Okay.
Yeah, the last time he wrestled, I was a senior in high school.
Yeah, it was a long time. Keep that in mind. He carried the rest of this match by himself against Kane and Undertaker, who are not the Kane and Undertaker of old. At one point, they were outside the ring, and Michaels stood up on the top rope, shrugged, and did a moonsault. And he was a little short, and they didn't catch him properly. He freaking kneed Kane right on the crown of the head. I'm sure that felt lovely. And the end came when Shawn Michaels performed a sweet chin music on Kane, followed by a pedigree from Triple H, meaning that Triple H pinned both Brothers of Destruction 2 events in a row. That was my problem with this whole match.
You're surprised that Triple H would would score the win.
Well, the whole thing here was that Shawn Michaels was coming back out of retirement after 8 freaking years, and he can't. They still have to have Triple H get the win.
Yeah.
What the hell? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. Damn it. I haven't heard anybody else rail against that part of the match, but seriously, that bugged the hell out of me. Part of it is because I'm not the biggest Triple H fan in the world, but god dang. I just let's just get
I will say this, for it being the first time Michaels has had a match since 2010, I thought he looked really good in this match. I mean, I think he's got a few left in him.
Oh, hell yeah. Especially after, especially with the fact that, the match had to be changed on the fly, clearly, because Triple H legitimately got hurt. So that had to have thrown a big old monkey wrench into their plans. But either way, it just, And I heard they're thinking about, at first it was, they were thinking about Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. Now they're talking about Shawn Michaels versus Daniel Bryan. But they said none of that may happen, as Shawn Michaels pretty much said, I have no interest in coming back for WrestleMania. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. That match versus him and Bryan could be fantastic. I'd also like to see him versus AJ Styles. That's the one I really want to see. But, him versus Bryan would also be great. But I'm not holding my breath that we'll get any of it.
Yeah, I thought I don't want to say for sure, but I thought there was a good chance we'd get Michaels and Undertaker. I'm not...
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see that again, because with the way that Taker moves now and everything, it's just, I don't know. It's not going to be as good as it once was. And if we're going to get one more big Taker match, I want it to be against Sting. We've seen him and Michaels, plenty of times. We have great memories of that. Get the match with Sting and just get it out there. And it's not going to be great, but I just want to see it. Give it to us, damn it. I don't know. Real quick, before we go to our last break here, we're going to come back with what Wikipedia says about the controversies here and some of the some of the comments and the reception and whatnot. Raw and SmackDown. You might have to refresh my memory a little bit here with some of this, Kyle. I know as far as like the fallout from this, we're basically in full Survivor Series mode. Alexa Bliss is basically like executive assistant Alexa Bliss now.
She was named captain of the women's, the Raw Women's Survivor Series team, even though she won't, participate in the match. I'm guessing she still have, because she got a concussion at a house show here recently, and I guess
that must have been a really bad concussion, like really bad. If they're keeping her out of the ring this long, like wow.
Yeah, makes you wonder like how she got it.
Yeah, I know. She got it in the match with Ronda Rousey. That's all I know. But other than that, I'm not positive. I do know, like you said, she's been named the captain of the Raw women's team.
She came up there. She was in the opening segment.
Yeah.
Came out there to, I guess, announce that. Well, I can't remember. Did she?
She was going to announce the team, never did. So we got to wait on that. Team SmackDown, however.
I do remember, though. She looked absolutely amazing.
Well.
And again, what doesn't she? But
I was going to say that's kind of, a given. But
yeah.
The Team SmackDown for the women. Carmella, Naomi, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and originally it was supposed to be Charlotte Flair. She did not come out, but instead Mandy Rose did. Ran down everyone on the team, got beat up by Naomi, and now we don't know who the fifth and final member of the women's team is for SmackDown. We don't know a single member of the Raw women's team.
Yeah, I want to know what they're doing with Charlotte right now. Because
I don't know.
Paige offered her, the chance to be the captain of the team. I think it was last week on SmackDown, and
yeah, she turned it down.
Then she turned it down, and then she was announced to be on the team, and she never even showed up. So
yeah, a little odd.
Kind of curious what they're doing with her right now.
Yeah, like I said, it's a little odd, but I assume we'll find out here in a couple weeks. Something else to follow up with on Raw and SmackDown. There is the tag team. It says 5-on-5 Survivor Series tag team elimination match. However, is it going to be 5 teams versus 5 teams? Like, it looks like.
That's what it sounds like.
Which they haven't pulled that out of their bag of tricks since like the early 90s. And I mean, some of those matches were good, but man, were they a cluster. Because it's just like you got 20 guys around the ring. And then if there's managers, that's even more. Like, oh, man, it's going to be a mess. But I don't know. Right now, nobody announced for Raw. Team SmackDown will be led by the Usos, who defeated the New Day and then asked the New Day to be on the team. So, I mean,
I don't think this is a really good idea because it ain't like either show is stacked with a bunch of tag teams.
No, it's going to showcase how weak the tag team divisions are on both shows. Because right now you've got AOP and The Bar tied up in their match. SmackDown's got who besides the Usos and the New Day?
Gallows and Anderson.
Okay, there's the Club.
The Colognes, are they still?
I have no idea. That's like it.
It would help if they could use the Bludgeon Brothers, but Rowan's hurt right now.
I thought it was Harper that was hurt. You might be right, though. I don't know. Either way, Good. I just. Ugh. But then on Raw. Sanity. Yeah, okay. There's one. But it's bad that we have to think this hard about it.
Yeah.
On Raw, you've got the Ascension, you've got the Revival,
B team,
the B team, and I guess Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Who the hell am I missing? Anybody?
Well, I mean, I think it was over the weekend. Matt Hardy isn't officially retired. He's still wrestling. I think he wrestled at a house show. So, I mean,
Wow.
they're gonna have the Leaders of Worlds.
I highly doubt it. I think they're holding off Bray for something else, but I don't know. I think this would be a weak time to bring him back, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Also booked for this show, guaranteed pre-show match. It's going to be Buddy Murphy defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Mustafa Ali. I don't know when that was announced, but it's on the card. The men's match, Survivor Series match so far, we've got Baron Corbin, I guess, is the captain of his team, even though he's not going to be wrestling on the team. And he picked Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and Team SmackDown is full right now. They've got Miz and Daniel Bryan are the two captains, co-captains, I guess, which is interesting. They picked Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe. So that's that. They filled up that team already.
Yeah, I find it funny that on SmackDown, like the men's team and the women's team, like there was really no drama there. We already knew who they were at the end of the show. Raw, on the other hand, we have no clue.
Yeah,
we know some of them, but.
And SmackDown, while it wasn't a fantastic show, it was, like it is every week, it was pretty decent. The Miz and Daniel Bryan got into it at the end of the show, along with Samoa Joe, and Daniel Bryan even hip-tossed Shane McMahon. So, that was it's crazy. Daniel's going like, he looks like he's, had it up to here with it, So he's done playing Mr. Nice Guy. There was some good war on Raw and SmackDown, a good war of words between Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. On SmackDown, we got the debut of Nikki Cross. This is going to be the most blue part of the show, people, because it's just something I saw online I thought was hilarious. Nikki Cross came out when Becky Lynch gave an open challenge, and Nikki said in her accent, "Oh, you want to play, Becky? Play with Nikki. Play with me, Becky." And like somebody posted that and was like, "I've got the weirdest boner right now."
Like, what am I watching right now?
I was like, geez. I'm oddly turned on, but I've always been a fan of Nikki Cross, but oh man, I don't know. I'm so glad she's finally up on the main roster, I guess. I don't know. Well, she tapped out to Becky, but I mean, whatever. Keep Becky's momentum going. I don't mind. But yeah, so there's that. On Raw, my God, dude, I didn't think about this until somebody pointed it out. Wrestling Observer Radio, actually, Brian Alvarez pointed it out. That whole show was nothing but building up heat. The whole show. There was like two baby faces that did anything. One of them was Apollo Crews against Jinder Mahal. Like, who gives a damn? Can't remember. There was another baby face that got a win. Kurt Angle got beat down by Drew McIntyre and called every name, called washed up and whatever, and made to look like a loser. And then Drew McIntyre tapped him out to his own move. Like what?
The ankle lock of
I love Drew McIntyre, but what the hell is the point of Kurt Angle now? He looks like a loser. And then
I don't understand that.
Yeah. And then earlier in the night, Bobby Lashley defeated Finn Balor, which is whatever. But then Drew McIntyre... Say what?
Because we haven't gotten that match at all.
Yeah, just recycled BS. But then Drew McIntyre comes out for some reason. Bobby Lashley gets out of the ring because he doesn't want a confrontation there. And Drew helps up Finn. Looks like they're going to be buddy-buddy, the Scotsman and the Irishman. Then he shoves Finn against the ropes, hits the Claymore on him. Why? What was the frickin' point? And here's the thing. People will defend him. And don't get me wrong. I'm a fan-ish of this guy. And I'm glad they turned him babyface. But it doesn't matter for one reason. I'll get to it in a minute. The Drifter had a random match with Dolph Ziggler. And he beat him, which was, I guess, cool. Is whatever. But, god dang, dude, Elias is super over, okay? Babyface, heel, whatever. He is over like Rover. But he has the most boring freaking matches ever. Headlocks, chin locks, headlock takeovers. Golly.
That's something I've never been all that impressed with. I've never been the biggest fan of Elias. He's kind of grown on me a little bit here lately, at least in the character. But his in-ring style is just, he's not a bad wrestler. It's just there's nothing exciting about it.
That was my argument with David Otunga in the past. That, a lot of people, he sucked. He didn't suck. He wasn't a bad wrestler. He was just a really boring wrestler. And don't get me wrong, Elias is better than David Otunga. But, same thing. He's not a bad wrestler. He just couldn't put on an exciting match to save his life. I have never, ever been impressed with an Elias match. And I watched him from NXT to Raw. Just nothing. And if you have a boring match with Dolph Ziggler, something's wrong, bro. I'm just gonna say it. I don't know. He gets his excitement, he gets the heat and everything out of the ring, but then, as Bruce Pritchard says, then that damn bell had to ring. It's just, he's boring. And this other,
I like his finishing move, Drift Away, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's it's different. It's simple. He can do that until the day he dies and not have to worry about hurting himself, or putting too big of a toll on his body. The last two things involve the women that I wanted to cover for Raw. Nia Jax has apparently officially turned heel.
What number is that for this year?
Yeah, she's the female Big Show. She beat Ember Moon, her BFF, but then Tamina comes down.
Another match that we've never seen before on Raw.
Yeah. Well, after Evolution, whatever. But she defeats Ember Moon. Then Tamina comes out. They have a face-off. And then Tamina picks up Ember Moon and hits a Samoan drop. And then the two of them team up. And they're celebrating. Yeah, we're together. Okay. Why? Is Tamina going to be in her corner against Ronda Rousey in her eventual match? I don't know. What the hell is going on? I actually want
to... sorry to interrupt, but they have these two several times teased that these two are just going to beat the hell out of one another.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, and then they just... Nope, April Fools, we're going to pair them together.
The only reasoning that I can think of for this, and this was brought up on Wrestling Observer Radio, would be for women's tag belts. By the way, those signs that say we want women's tag titles that they keep posting online and that you saw in the crowd at various shows, those are plants by WWE. People have already said they've been handed out to them when they come into the arena. That's pathetic. Nobody wants women's tag titles. Nobody cares. The men's tag titles hardly get enough respect. Your tag divisions suck. You only build up two teams at a time. The rest of your teams look like garbage.
I know it's gonna be just a house show, but I wonder if they're gonna hand those out at Starrcade.
Oh gosh, hell if I know. Probably not, because the tape machines won't be rolling, as they would say in WCW. But yeah, that was the first thing with the women. The second thing with the women is, speaking of matches we've seen a million freaking times, we got the Riot Squad versus Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya. And Natalya decided these are supposedly her dead father's sunglasses that she's going to wear to the ring. For the first time ever, she's going to do this. He's been dead now, 2 months-ish?
Yeah.
Something like that. And so she decides, out of the blue, 2 months after he passes away, you know what? I'm going to start wearing his glasses to the ring. First time ever. And during the match, she's beating, I believe, Sarah Logan.
Sarah Logan, yep.
Yeah, she's beating her up. And I think she had her in a sharpshooter.
Had her in the sharpshooter.
And Ruby Riott picks up the sunglasses, shows them to Natalya, and snaps them in half and throws them on the floor. And then leaves. Natalya goes out of the ring, drops to her knees, starts crying. And Sasha and Bayley hug on her and try to make her feel better.
And the match ended.
Yeah, and the match is over. No winners, no losers. Nothing happened.
Like, one of the stupidest finishes I've ever seen, if you want to call that a finish.
Yeah, the Riot Squad does that, and then they leave.
Wouldn't it make more sense for if, Natalya was distracted and, all pissed off at Ruby Riott? Wouldn't it make more sense for Sarah Logan to roll up Natalya to get the win?
Yeah, like, this is another one. The first time a match has ever been called in WWE history because somebody got their feelings hurt. Like, what the hell? And if you were going to do this, wouldn't you build to this? Like, this is, like I said, first week, and out of the freaking blue, she just decides to wear these sunglasses to the ring. First time, boom, they're snapped. And they're used to get heat on the Riot Squad. Cheap heat. Oh, he's dead. We got to capitalize on it. Every time somebody dies, we got to capitalize on it. Roman Reigns has leukemia, capitalize on it.
The sad thing is, I was reading what people thought online about that match, and there are quite a few people that thought those were legit Jim Neidhart's glasses.
Well, even if they are, or even if they're not, it's just distasteful, and it's stupid, and it's cheap heat, and nobody's going to care next week. Nobody's going to care. Just like, okay, I lied. There's one other thing I want to cover for Raw before we go to our break. Our last break here. Then we'll wrap it up. Dean Ambrose is not getting the venomous hate and vitriol that you figured he would get. And they're still trying to play on, he turned on Seth Rollins the night that Roman Reigns announced he had leukemia. How dare he? Come on. And he still hasn't said why.
Yeah.
It just what the hell is going on? I'm confused.
He hasn't done anything since they turned him. I mean, all he's done, he's just beat the hell out of Seth Rollins 2 of the last 3 weeks.
Yep. That's it. And they brought this up on Wrestling Observer Radio as well, and I've thought the same damn thing. Not to keep giving them plugs, but, it is what it is. They've established on WWE programming, like kayfabe programming, and off, kayfabe programming, whatever, like on their reality shows, on both, they've established that Renee Young and Dean Ambrose are married.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've heard him talk a little bit about it on Raw, like that they haven't officially said, oh yeah, you know, they're married, but I heard like Michael Cole or Corey Graves say something like, you know, well, you know, turn to Renee Young and say something like, well, you know Dean Ambrose, you know, better than anybody given the relationship you two have. They didn't,
Well,
you know, they didn't come right out and say that they're married.
The Miz you remember the time the Miz was talking crap to her and got slapped because he said something about, well, you're the one sleeping with Dean Ambrose or something like that?
Yeah. She asked him, like, what's this obsession you have with Dean Ambrose? And he was like, my obsession with Dean Ambrose? What about your obsession with Dean Ambrose? After all, you're the one sleeping with him, so that's the first time they acknowledged it. Yeah, so they've acknowledged that they're together. But then when she does her commentary, she's acting like he's a stranger. Which is it? Like, it's just stupid at this point. Nothing on Raw makes sense. Just nothing. I'm like, I've given up on Raw. I'm not, you know, SmackDown has some stupidity at times too, like the Shane McMahon thing, but I'd rather put my eggs in the Shane McMahon, or in the SmackDown basket. Golly. Another last thing, that best in the world thing. Somebody posted a meme and was like, two Cleveland guys in the finalist and they still can't get a win. Yeah. It's pathetic. I hadn't seen that. I don't.
It's true. But yeah, so that's. Is there anything else from this week's shows that you wanted to cover that I hadn't touched on yet? There's big news.
I think that about covers it. I'm just, you know, like how you mentioned how nothing makes sense on Raw. I'm hoping that there's, you know, since there's really no more of these, you know, big network specials outside of the U.S. for the rest of the year, and I don't know when the next one will be next year. So hopefully we can just focus on, you know, the actual pay-per-views now. So maybe things will get better then. They don't have to worry about all this other extra crap.
Yeah, but maybe. I don't know. Yeah, because we got Survivor Series and then TLC, and then that wraps up the year of pay-per-views before the Rumble. But, well, we're going to take our last quick break here, let you know about some other great podcasts here on the Drama City Productions Podcast Network. When we come back, there's a little, a couple things I wanted to read off of Wikipedia about the reception for Crown Jewel from other sources, and then that will wrap up the podcast right after this. Don't forget, go check out DramaCityProductions.com, where you can listen to this and many other great podcasts on the network. We'll be right back.
DramaCityProductions.com.
Hey, I'm Morgan Danielle.
And I'm Luco Blaze.
And you can check us out on www.themetalexperience.com for the latest interviews featuring punk and metal bands from the Chicago area. And on our website, you can read interviews and reviews from bands all over the world in our blog section, either on Reviews from the Crypt or the Let's Chat Q&A sessions.
Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And remember to keep it metal.
Woo!
DramaCityProductions.com.
Bye Bye Blackbird. The last words spoken by bank robber John Dillinger? Or were they? Here at Famous Last Words, we take a deeper look into the last thing famous or infamous people said in their final moments. You may know about the quotes, but now you'll understand what it really meant. Was it heartfelt, passionate, philosophical, or was it complete nonsense? Find us on Twitter at Last Words Show. Find our show on Podbean, Wooshka, and Anchor. Plus, wherever your ears enjoy podcasts.
And we are back for our final segment here on Wrestling Wednesday on the podcast Wrestling Society. You know, we did put it to a vote on Twitter here to see what our listeners thought of Crown Jewel. We got a few votes on the question: if you watched WWE Crown Jewel, what did you think? 0% said it was a decent show. 15% said it was great. 85% said that show sucked.
People actually said that was great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the actual number of voters that said that, but 15%. So.
Well, okay. I mean, whatever floats your boat. I mean,
some people will just love whatever the hell they watch. So, I mean, I can't imagine I was a ton of people who thought it was great, but whatever. To wrap up our Crown Jewel show here, I'm going to go tell you guys some of the receptions from other people about this show, different reviewers and stuff. Yeah. The show received generally mixed and negative reviews from critics. The conclusion of the World Cup tournament and the Universal Championship match in particular received harsh criticism. No kidding. CBS Sports' Adam Silverstein and Jack Jorgensen gave the event a C- rating. Generous.
very.
Describing the show as, quote, failed as a normal event, but at least had enough to talk about afterwards, while finding the booking of WWE's long-term plans questionable. The Universal Championship match received a D+ rating, with Lesnar's surprise win being listed as a positive, but being wholly outweighed by no offense from Strowman. 5 matches received a C+ rating, including the Styles Joe WWE Championship match for being relatively slow. The WWE World Cup final for being creative, though a bit confounding, and the main event tag match between DX and the Brothers of Destruction, which offered effort and nostalgia, but not much more, given that the wrestlers' age, resulting in them operating at 50% of their prior capacity. Yep, I'd say so. I mean, Michaels, I thought, looked pretty good, as we talked about earlier, but yeah.
He said that the Universal title match was a positive. Brock Lesnar becoming champion again is a positive. He's obviously not a wrestling fan.
I guess so. Well, it was a surprise, I guess. Brian Rose from the Wrestling Observer described Crown Jewel as a show that ended, quote, mercifully after a very plodding, long main event. Despite this, Brian noted that the tag team main event was better than the main event at Super Showdown of the WWE World Cup matches, and the SmackDown tag title matches most were, quote, paint by numbers or nothing special, with only Ziggler Angle being decent and Ziggler Rollins being pretty good. That's about what I said, and I didn't even read that review yet. So, meanwhile, the matches of Ziggler and McMahon and Lesnar and Strowman, quote, couldn't be more destructive towards people that need a boost the most. While a McMahon winning the WWE World Cup, which was to crown the best in the world, feels like an allegory for something. Yeah, basically. Lastly, Styles and Joe, quote, was good while it lasted, but they've had better matches. That's basically what I said as well.
That's a fairly accurate review.
Yep. I don't disagree with any of that. And lastly here, Jason Powell of ProWrestling.net, who viewed the event as a cash grab by WWE, wrote that Crown Jewel was gross for all of the obvious reasons, including Vince McMahon doubling down on the controversy by bringing back Hulk Hogan. I didn't mind them bringing back Hulk Hogan. I know, for all the reasons that they said, he's a racist and whatever. People are going to hate on it. But as a fan, I'm glad to see him back in some capacity.
Yeah, I'm glad he's back.
I'm not sure I'm glad that he was on this show, but I'm glad he's back.
He didn't, there's really no reason for him to be there. He didn't, like we said, he didn't do anything. He came out there and cut a promo for like 3 minutes, and that's all we saw of him. And he was the host, he said.
Yeah, I've never seen such an uninvolved host in my life. For the main event tag match, Powell wrote that despite their efforts, quote, everyone involved came up short regardless of how much gushing the broadcast team did afterwards. And the 4 veterans were instead, quote, stealing the spotlight from deserving full-time stars of yet another generation. Wow.
I wouldn't go that far.
I will say, every time you build up, oh, these guys are closing the show. Look, they're coming back. These guys, all these Attitude Era guys, like, and then you're building up Kurt Angle and Jeff Hardy and everything. I mean, Jeff Hardy's still youngish, I guess. But it's like, and it's been said before, and I kind of agree that it's like, it makes it feel like your stars today are less than when you're having to bring back all these Attitude Era guys. I kind of agree. Powell felt that all of the WWE World Cup tournament matches were, quote, basic and brief, and that Shane McMahon, for some reason Powell could not understand, had become, quote, yet another heel authority figure in WWE. He's not a heel, but he does act like a heel at times. I will give him that. Powell did manage to find a few positives with the show, including that the decision not to rush into giving Strowman a world title and a quality kickoff show match between Rusev and Nakamura. Rush to give Strowman a title? What the hell? He's been after the thing for years. It's like freaking Roman Reigns. He was after it for years. And I know he was WWE champ in the past, but Strowman hasn't been. And he's been hot for a long time.
I mean, I could understand them not wanting to, give Strowman such a huge moment at a show that everybody wants to forget.
This would be the second time in a row he had a crowning achievement in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, he did. He got the greatest Royal Rumble earlier this year.
Yep. Bring it full circle, baby. But the thing is, now they've got to play up that Brock Lesnar won the damn thing over there. I don't know. I'm just flabbergasted by this whole show. And the Raw afterwards was not good. Bad. Not good. And then SmackDown was, pretty decent. It was what it was. Here's to hoping that TakeOver Phoenix, I guess, no. That's not it. Where the hell is Survivor Series going to be? LA. Okay. Yeah. TakeOver LA. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Is hoping, it's going to be TakeOver War Games. My bad. TakeOver War Games and Survivor Series. Here's to hoping that those are good shows. I'm excited for a couple of the matches. I'm excited to see Rollins and Nakamura for the first time, and Rousey and Lynch. Kind of excited for Lesnar and Styles. They had a decent match last time around. I think Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali will have a good match. The tag title match, or the tag champions versus tag champions match, and whatever, the Bar versus AOP. I mean, I think it'll be a good match.
I think Survivor Series is looking like it's going to be a pretty good card. The only one I'm questionable of is the whole, tag teams versus tag teams, not the champions. But
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's going to be a mass of humanity around that ring, I'll tell you what. But that just means next week, you and I will get together one more time, Kyle, to give our predictions to Survivor Series. And then after that, we'll give our hot takes on how it all went. Lots to come.
And then we'll have only one more pay-per-view of the year, amazingly.
Yep. Man, it's been a wild ride for the year of 2018 in WWE. It's coming to an end. Ugh. But yeah, so anything else you want to add before we wrap this up here?
I think we covered everything.
Well, for all of you listening, thank you for tuning in. Definitely go check out the YouTube channel. We have got the top 10 repackagings that saved a career. That is being posted today. Next week, Greg and I will be coming at you with some good big stuff. We have got the top 10 storylines with unsatisfying or no conclusions. And we'll come at you with the news. And of course, Kyle and I will be coming at you on YouTube with our Survivor Series and TakeOver War Games predictions. Big times. And then, of course, I'm counting down like 1, 2, 3 weekends from now, 3 Saturdays from now, you and I will be in the U.S. Bank Arena for Starrcade.
Yeah, second time this year we'll be in the U.S. Bank Arena. Looking forward to this show. Should be fun.
Oh, yeah. And we got TakeOver War Games one weekend. The next weekend, Starrcade. It's insane what the hell is going on. I'm not complaining, but just like, what the hell? War Games and Starrcade back to back. It's crazy. And it's WWE branded.
Yeah.
But if you are listening, definitely subscribe to the podcast on whatever medium you use to listen to us on. Give us a like and 5-star review. Type some nice little message down below and give it to us in a review. We appreciate it. Definitely search for us on YouTube. Search for the Podcast Wrestling Society. Subscribe and tick the little bell. Be notified whenever new content is posted, which is multiple times a week, usually. This week, we only had the one. Well, last week, we had a ton of stuff for Halloween week. It was hard to keep up with, I will say, because it's just me doing all this. I don't have a team. I have my co-hosts that bring a bunch of knowledge and their hot takes with them, and they help keep me in line, but the editing and whatnot, it's all me. I'm a one-man crew, baby. I hope you all liked it. Thank you for joining me today, Kyle.
Not a problem.
And we apologize that this is not being posted on Wednesday like usual, but on Thursday. But on your way to work, listen to us. On your way home from work, whatever the hell, just give us a listen. And thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you next week. Later.
This has been a Drama City production.